people don't tell you about moving to Canada is I feel so alone. And I feel like I live with someone I can't have a conversation with, and I'm trying to cry and I even have to be silent about it. 'Cause you just lose out on so many things. Your life, you just leave it behind. Your friends, and I'm so hurt and my heart hurts. You have to work all the time. I have school. I'm so sad. I'm hurting so much. I don't have any friends.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel once again, and I hope you're doing fine wherever you are. I'm your host, Julie Reaction. So guys, have you ever wondered why so many people leave their home countries searching for better life, only later to speak of stress, loneliness, and disappointment? So today we are going to talk about these hidden struggles many immigrants face after moving abroad, especially when they leave warm, familiar places like Caribbean to start new life in the countries like Canada. So before we ventured in this discussion, I want us to watch this combination of clips till the end, and I'll be back with more comments. All credits goes back to the original creator.
This shit, I have no quality of life. I somehow allow people to convince me that, a good life and a successful life is owning a home, owning a car, having this career and, taking a student loan to, advance that career, only to find out that when you do all of these things, you become a slave. You acquire all these material things that the bank owns, and all you do is live with the debt of trying to pay for it. And when you realize you have no quality of life, this is May. It is so freaking cold outside, and you can't get to enjoy your life. So even the things that you're buying to say, yeah, I've accomplished these things, you're not getting a chance to enjoy because you live in people's workplace. You're like a slave to this thing. It's the worst, and you're not enjoying your life. And you're surrounded by all these bills and more bills, and you realize that somebody tricked you into thinking that borrowing money from the bank to buy a house and borrowing money to buy a car and all these things only make you stuck in the matrix. I'm annoyed. I am so sick of it. And at the end of the day, you get sick and you're not living any quality of life. Now, if you want to leave from wherever you are in the world to come and experience this, I'm not going to tell you to stop. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of living in Canada. I'm sick of feeling like, I need to be released from this bondage. And I'm not alone. And it has nothing to do with color or creed. It has a lot of people are living here in Canada and they feel like a slave. They're not enjoying their life. They're miserable. And some people can't even escape because guess what? Financially, they're not able to get out of their situation. And when they tell you, purchasing a home, one of the biggest, achievements in life, you find out that, listen, all it does is keep you in bondage. I'm so sick of it. And freedom for me means an escape from living like this, where you have the illusion of success and all you do is not enjoy life. When you live here, June and July, before you kind of see, like, the sun comes out and you're warm, and you only have a few months, and before you're back to it. I'm sick of it. So I'm not telling any Jamaican, and I'm not telling anybody, because they always mistake when you complain. And for those of you who are going to come and say, why don't you leave? I'd love to. And sometimes it's not that easy. When you get to my age and you put in so much time and you work hard to achieve certain things, and when you see it slipping through your hand, if you don't stay on the plantation, it is very scary. So you end up staying longer than you should. I'm sick of this life. Canada is not the place it used to be. Canada invite all of these immigrants into the space, and before you know it, people who have been here paying taxes for decades are left in the side, even though they have worked hard. And people who never contributed nothing, they come here you know, bring them, take the jobs from the people who are already here for decades and paying taxes. And now, you know, I feel sorry for myself and I feel sorry for all the other people who have done all the work and now should be benefiting. In Brampton right now has the most people losing their homes. People who work sometimes 2-3 jobs. People who are doing everything to hold on to their shelter. It's a damn disgrace. And I just don't want to be the one to contribute to the illusion of being happy or this being that wonderful place. You're better off living somewhere in a one-room board house where you feel freedom and peace and not feel like a slave. So many people are dropping down in their workplace trying to hold it together, and I don't want to use the D word, but you know, never really getting to enjoy the things that they work for. People are coming out of retirement at 70. What kind of life is this? It is horrible. And then you got a small group of people who is benefiting from our suffering.
Yeah, I must say this, man, to all the Jamaicans that's living in Canada right now. How are you guys doing? How are you guys surviving this place? If you don't notice nothing, like your bills the same, the groceries the same, the mortgage is the same, the house price is the same, you love the weather, then this video is not for you. Just scroll past. But for the other Jamaicans, I'm gonna say this, man, how are you guys doing? Because this place is very draining, very depressing, very mindful. So every day I wake up, I'm like, I don't think I can do 2 more years in this country. I don't think I can do 2 more years here. Like, this place is very draining. And with the immigration, it just make it 20 times worse. 20 times worse. So I'm thinking every day, man, where am I going? When am I going? Is it gone? Is it Jamaica? Tell me in the comment if I'm going crazy, but this place is draining.
My experience in Canada, and I want to give you some of my experience as to what led to me moving back home. So when you move there, you realize that taxes and credit score plays a big role in their society, and if you don't have a good credit score, it can affect you getting an apartment, it can affect you getting a lot of stuff. So when we were apartment hunting, we realized that you had to apply for these apartments, and then you have to put credit scores. And at that point we had to leave that blank because, you know, we were just moving from the Bahamas, so we didn't have credit scores. Well, the apartment that we finally settled on after going to like 3 or 4 apartment tours, we applied, and the landlord, she was very transparent with us, and she let us know that, hey, I have other people that are applying for this apartment who have better credit scores than you guys, but it's just something about y'all that I love. And with that, she gave us the apartment. Now, when we got into all of the expenses that came along with the apartment, we had to pay, because we didn't have credit score, we had to prove that we can afford this apartment. So we had to pay 4 months of rent in advance on top of the security deposit and the last month's rent. So all of that totaled to like 10K. Then the area that we lived in, we realized that we needed a car. So that was another 7K. And like I said, we was prepared going there, so we had the money on hand. But you start living in the system, you realize once you're going into the grocery stores or whatever store you're going into, that's another set of taxes. Then it's a whole other a lot of other bills that comes along with living in those countries. So you will have to have money on hand for that. And if you're just moving, obviously you have to find a job. So once you get into the working system, I realized that the amount of taxes that come out of Canadians' pay is insane. The job that I was working on paid $3,000 a month. By the time as you get your pay, $800 had already come out of the pay, and that's just income tax. That isn't you paying for your insurance and other expenses like gas and stuff that comes along with living. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is it's a very expensive country to live in. Yes, it probably will provide opportunities, but you're gonna have to pay to live there, like a lot of money. And after living there for a while, you realize the culture shock really hits home when you for months. Your family is the only family, if you moved with a family, that you're seeing for months on end. You're not seeing anyone that's your skin color, because it's predominantly more white country, especially depending on where you move. And we lived in the Niagara area. Maybe if we had moved to Toronto, it might have been a different experience, or somewhere else. I don't know, but I only can go off of my experience. And to live in those bigger cities is way more expensive than where we was living, and where we lived was already expensive. And after, when you first move there, it's great, especially if you move in the summertime. It's great, you know, the weather's great, and then the weather change happens, and you get down into October where it starts to snow. And man, when I tell you, that is very taxing on the body and the mental. You will come outside and you're just grateful that the sun is out, because you gone weeks without seeing the sun. Mind you, it's still freezing, but you're seeing the sun. Like, it affects you a lot. Winter blues is a serious thing over there, and you can become depressed. And a lot of that played a role in my decision to move back home. Then we started to think, okay, if we're gonna make over here our home, we want to get a home. When we started looking at the cost of homes over there, just a 2-bedroom house in the area that we were looking at was like $500K plus. At that point, you're becoming a slave to mortgage. You'll be paying that mortgage until probably the day you die, like, because it's so expensive depending on your job. And all of that, we compared living there and living in the Bahamas, in which, when we left, our jobs weren't that bad. Our lives in the Bahamas wasn't that bad. So for us, it wasn't a hard decision to say, okay, well, we probably could move back home where we would have a better quality of life. So for some people, it might be different. Your experience, that's why I keep saying I am only giving it off of my experience and based off of my life. I cannot speak for anyone else. Someone else might be in Canada living the best life compared to what they lived in the Bahamas, in which it works for people like that. But for me, where life wasn't that bad, it wasn't that hard of a decision to say, hey, I'd rather come home and continue my life home, which that worked for me. My daughter, she lived in Canada with us whilst we were there. She loved it. She wants to go back to college, and I don't mind her going back there, because like I say, for a single person, maybe it's a different experience. Especially someone who's young going off to college, it might be different. But you have even persons who were living over there during our time, and they were in college, and they moved back home too. So, you know, everyone's experience is just different. And all I tell you is, if you're going to move there, save, be prepared for the culture shock. Be prepared to hit speed bumps and know that it's not going to be easy all the time. Even as simple as us getting our driver's license, it was hard. You have to do your research with everything. Think about your life. Think about everything in your life that makes life worth living for you, and do your research on it. You want to get a car, do your research on it. Driver's license, do your research. Apartment hunting, you have to do your research. Even in terms of the area that you live in, the area that you live in might affect the amount of jobs that are available, because the area that we was is a small amount of people, and because of that, the job availability wasn't. The moving to Canada and then moving back to the Bahamas, it honestly gave my husband and myself a newfound appreciation for the Bahamas, because you realize that life back home isn't as bad as you think it is. But sometimes you have to move in order to realize that. And for us, we was able to get our scratch our itch and go over there, live for a little while, and then come back home. And life home is great for us. Like, we were able to move back home, get our home. We're now, you know, we have a kid, another child, and it's not as bad as we thought it would have been. So, like I say, everyone's life is different. Everyone's experiences are different, and you just have to experience certain things for yourself. But I'm just giving it based off of what I experienced.
I am not going to speak for anybody else. I'm going to speak for me. Personally, there's nothing in Canada to miss. When we were growing up, we were cultured that foreign is greener pasture, and America, Canada and England are greener pastures, and everybody wanting to go. And that is one of the biggest lie that could ever endow on the Caribbean people. Caribbean people rich in love, in help, in kindness, in being your brother's keeper. That is not in first world country. What happened is that they trick us, tell us to go to America to work because of green pasture. And they build up these expensive houses and charge us 250,000 Jamaican dollars, which is 2,000 odd Canadian dollars for rent. And then we have to pay those big rents, and those persons move to the Caribbean, buy houses at the waterfront, and have us maintaining their lifestyle. So they come to the Caribbean, they open up businesses, they buy out the hotels, and all of them are in the Caribbean running wholesales, running hotels, running restaurants, whilst we are the slaves in their country to help them to make their dream come true. Going to Canada was one of the biggest mistakes that I could have ever made. It not only damaged my physical health, but I was very close to getting mental health. I am not talking about anybody else. I am talking about me. The best place to live is Jamaica, is the Caribbean, is to identify with your people, is to speak the same language. If you want little water, you get little water. You can get piece of breadfruit, you can get 2 tomatoes. If you're sick, you can call your neighbor. There's nobody in Canada to help you. The only thing that Canada have is snow, taxes, and high rent. And silent racism. So no, to answer your question, I forgot to not answer your question. No, I don't miss Canada because there's nothing in Canada to miss. Going to Canada was one of the biggest mistakes that I have ever made, and it cost me my health.
So me park on the street, right out there, so. And me get a ticket, $65. Normally, them tickets cost like $45, $35. And now we raised to $65 for park on the street. So me I say, while the government has spent over $1.8 billion for World Cup, and the city of Toronto has spent over $200,000 for buy condom, for print FIFA, football panic, for give away free. And them are give me one $65 ticket for park on the corner, high road. If on the street, not on the road, on the street. $65. See it there in Canada. While the government has sent 270 million guys Ukraine, has spent over couple billion for World Cup, and buy condom for give away 200,000 stock pay.
So a lot of my friends and family, particular in Jamaica, asking me what is my experience being in Canada, because they want to make the transition. Now, this video is not to discourage anybody from coming to Canada. If you feel like Canada is a place that you want to come and live and, you know, start your family, feel free. Don't let this discourage you. But I want to share the realities of Canada. I've been here for the last almost 6 years, and Canada has been, it's different. From after COVID, Canada has changed significantly in a number of areas. And I'll speak to some of the areas that I think Canada changed a lot in. When it comes down to taxes, Canada, I think, have one of the highest taxes in the world. So the more money you earn, the more tax you pay in Canada. It's like the higher you climb, is the higher the government take money out of your pay. So you're paying, as I'm up to 47% of your income in Canada that goes to tax. So it's very, 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 very tax heavy in Canada. The other thing that I noticed in Canada is that after COVID, the price of food went right through the doors. Like literally, you can go to supermarket with $100 Canadian and you spend you come out back with absolutely nothing. Just two, probably, if you get 2 bags with $100, you get a lot. Food over the last 2 years, particularly 3 years, skyrocket high. The cost of living versus what you're getting for your pay, what you're getting for to buy for food, absolutely ridiculous. The other thing is rent. Now, Canada have this. So before COVID, you could get a 2-bedroom for like 1,100 Canadian dollars, $1,200. Now, after COVID, the same apartment, the apartment that I live on, I got my apartment before COVID, so I got in a very comfortable rate for a 2-bedroom apartment. Now, I have some friends who moved from Jamaica, and there are some vacancies on this apartment, and they live here, and they're paying $1,800 for the same 2-bedroom. And when they move, the landlord charging $2,200 for the same 2-bedroom. So rent in Canada, it's very, very, very expensive. When you talk about the healthcare, no, Canada have free healthcare because they use the taxes that we pay to provide free healthcare. But when you go to the hospital, it's like it's no different from an underdeveloped country where you're waiting hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Like literally waiting for 8 hours. You go to the hospital from 7 a.m. in the morning, you're not getting through, and I kid you not, you're not getting through until around maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. That's when you actually get to see a doctor, because there is a shortage in the healthcare workers. There is no doctor, and you can't go to a private doctor. You can't say, all right, you have your money, so you're gonna go to a private doctor. Canada not deal with private doctor. The rich, the poor, everybody goes to one hospital. Furthermore, you can't even get a family doctor. There's a 6 months waiting list to even get a family doctor here in Canada. The other challenge with the reality of Canada is, honestly, Canada boring. Canada boring. There is nothing to do. It's good when you have like your own community, that you can have that level of culture. You know, you have your Jamaican community, you have the other ethnic groups who have their community. Community is big. If you don't have a community in Canada, man, Canada is boring. You have nothing to do. So I'm grateful that here we form a nice little community where people can display culture, can talk your language, you can cook your food, and you just feel Jamaican. Without that being present, Canada boring. So a lot of people just work in Canada and save their money so that they can travel to different countries. That's what I've been doing over the last couple of years. Like me, I can't stay 12 months in Canada. It's not possible. It's not possible. Yeah. So at the end of the day, Canada is still good in some instances where, you know, the crime and violence is not as bad. They have good gun laws, but overall, if you're not a strong person, if you don't have community and you don't have the support, Canada is very, very depressing. And grateful to be here, and I'm not discouraging anybody from coming. You can come and you may find it to be good. The other thing is I want to mention is that with this current government, what they're doing, they're reversing a number of the immigration programs that they had for people to get easy access in Canada. So a lot of temporary residents, a lot of people going back to their countries. Trust me, if you do the research right now, a lot of people going back to their countries because people just cannot afford to live in Canada anymore, or the government make it so difficult for persons now to obtain permanent residence in this country. But still grateful to be here, but I just wish things will change soon. That's just my reality of Canada.
Yo, too much Jamaicans there at Toronto. For other Jamaicans there at Toronto are struggle and can't get no job. Too much Jamaicans there at Toronto. For other Jamaicans there at Toronto are struggle and cannot get no job. Then, Toronto have the largest Jamaican population in Canada. And a lot of Jamaicans down there I struggle right now, so they don't know nobody, Zine, and them I reach out to other Jamaicans to help them to get a job, and them can't get no job, Zine. Either under the table job, them can't get nobody with no nobody, if you can't make them get an under the table job, or job legal work, what they can do, pan the books, Zine. A lot of man tell me, say, yo, brother, me have my papers, whatsoever, but me can't get no link to no work in a Toronto. And so much Jamaican down at Toronto. What did that Toronto do? As be selfish to each other. Me think say Jamaican down at Toronto supposed to help other Jamaican to get work in a Canada. I won't go on with down at Toronto.
Jamaican men are depressed over here in Canada. Listen, can we talk about how a Jamaican man can get depressed when he comes to Canada? A lot of people had warned me about this before my husband came to Canada, that listen, don't force him, let him come on his own time, because when the Jamaican man them come to Canada, it take a toll on them, and especially if the man was coming from a situation where he was in a corporate job, where he was getting paid a really good salary with benefits and all of that. When he comes to Canada and have to adjust his life to what Canada is, and this is not applicable to all situations. Sometimes some people come and them land in a really good job and it's equivalent to what they had in Jamaica. I'm not talking about those circumstances. I'm talking about, you know, when the man come to Canada and he have to do something completely different from what he used to doing back home in Jamaica. That will take a toll on your man. When I say that will take a toll on your man, that will take a toll on your man. And I know coming to Canada is an opportunity for a lot of people. A lot of other men there and them well on the bus, and them when them come to Canada, them get to do things that they never did before with themselves. Not talking about those people either. But I know for sure that a lot of Jamaican men, when they come here and they have to be working some odd jobs, when they have to be doing some things that, you know, they never did before, when they used to have money a certain way at Jamaica, now them come to Canada, they have to watch every dollar with them spend. It take a toll upon the man. So if you have a Jamaican man who is transitioning into the Canadian, and not to mention the culture, because I feel like that's my husband's biggest pet peeve, it's just, you know, getting used to the Canadian work culture, because the working environment here is so different from Jamaica that it shocks your system. It really does shock your system when you come here, when you're not used to that, when you're used to a more relaxed environment, when you're used to an environment where, you know, you can take 2-hour lunch break. No, you only get 30 minutes. It takes a toll on you. But I really just wanted to say, acknowledge that our men have mental health issues as well. And if you have a Jamaican man or a man from anywhere else that is going through depression, acknowledge that, you know, his feelings are valid and exercise some patience with him.
Hey, my beautiful people. Yeah, I'm back home. I am home in Jamaica. What an experience. What an experience for me in Canada. I have so many stories. I have so many stories to give. I really and truly like Canada. Differently from the cold, I really like Canada. But you know, coming back to Jamaica, I must say, we as Jamaican who have people living in Canada, we must not take them for granted, you know. We must not take them for granted. They are going through a lot, and a lot is going through them. Because you see, even though it is snowing and I'm driving on the road, and when you're driving on the road, I see people going to work. You know they are going to work. They have the lunch kit in their hand, and they have them little bag. You just know they are going to work. As much as they're in their clothes and all of that, you can see them going to work. Sometimes when I am on the road and like we stop, I know my Jamaican people them, and they're either going to work or they're coming from work. And I'm just looking at them and I said, you know, when you don't know what people have to go through to make life, to make a living, it's best for you to shut up. It's best for you not to say anything. And it's when somebody can leave Jamaica because we're privileged, you know. We Jamaican people, we feel like we're privileged, like people owe us something. And you see, when we get up and go out, and people get up and go to Canada and say they go work, it's work them go. It's not like Jamaica, you got work and you delay that or work them go. And if they don't go to work, we must appreciate them. I have so many stories.
Welcome back once again, and I hope you have watched those combination of videos till the end and you have seen how people are struggling back in Canada. You have seen how majority of them are crying and begging for help. They feel disappointed, they feel stressed, they feel lonely in Canada. And right now, if you want to go to Canada, kindly abort that mission. You have seen how people have come out and encouraged people who want to go to Canada to not go to Canada, because you won't find it as easy as you think. And it's not only just for Canada. Even right now, going to America is not safer. I can say right now going to America is not safer. If you want to go to America, unless you have your family there or you have someone who will connect you on a high paying job or will finance you financially, then you are good to go. Same as to Canada. If you have your family there, or you have a family member there, or you have someone who will support you financially, or someone who will connect you to a high paying job, then you are good to go. But if you are going just to test your luck, kindly about that mission. Don't go to Canada, because we have seen so many of them coming out and raising some challenges that they are facing, and we have seen most of those challenges are similar, and I want us to go through them together and find out why these people are facing these challenges. And the first challenge is the high cost of living. We have seen so many of these Jamaicans, immigrants, saying that in Canada, life is really expensive, is extremely expensive than the way they thought. You find out that someone is being paid a salary that it's only meant to be a house rent, and this person hasn't put on other bills that she or he needs to pay. Like we say, example of a grocery bills, a transport cost, and others are even have a loan, they need to pay the loan back. Others have not paid insurance, they need to pay insurance. And you find out that they are saying the money that they are being paid as salary is only meant for a house rent. They haven't put another bills on top of. So this makes them to take more jobs, like 2 to 3 jobs, so that it could help them to pay other bills and to sustain them in that harsh economy. And we have seen many of them saying that this has resulted them not to have that even time to enjoy that money that they are making. They are busy 24/7, that they can't have that time to go and enjoy that money. They don't have time to relax, because you find someone is taking 2 to 3 jobs, and when he comes back home, he's tired. He needs to wake up early in the morning to go and to do the same job, and this routine is repeating itself day to day. So they don't even have that time to relax and to enjoy their money. And that is the biggest challenge these people are facing, the high cost of living. And another challenge these people are facing is economic struggle. Some immigrants, they were educated, they went with the degrees, skilled, and even experience of years to find job in Canada. But when they arrived, they discovered that finding a good paying job in the foreign country is really difficult, because others employees are demanding for a local experience, not foreign experience, local experience, and it makes difficult for them to compete with the local people. Remember, these people are the foreigners, but when they arrived there, the employees demand them to provide local experience which they don't have. And this makes them to be frustrated. They are disappointed, because when they were going, they thought that they have skills, they have degrees, they have experience, they will go and find a good paying job. But when they arrive there, they find things different. They find things difficult, to an extent that they end up being issued jobs that they are survival jobs, the jobs that they are being paid little money to assist them in paying their bills. And this is really frustrating, this because these people, they have family back home to feed, they have bills to pay, they have even projects to achieve. But you find these people, they don't have any other option but to take that survival job so that they can survive in a foreign country. And another challenge these people are facing is the harsh climate and isolation. For example, people who are coming from Caribbean countries, we know that Caribbean countries, most of Caribbean countries is warmer comparing to Canada. And you find that when these Caribbean people go to Canada and the winter comes, it's really difficult for them to adapt. It's really difficult for them to enjoy or to stay in that cold environment, because they are coming from the place that is warmer comparing to the winter period. And when they are those to avoid catching cold, these people, they feel that they are being disconnected, they are being isolated. But it's really difficult for them to adapt that weather. And you find out these people, they when they are indoors, they feel that they are isolated, and they start to develop loneliness. They are stressing, they start even uh, missing people back home. And this is a major factor that is affecting them. The harsh condition, this winter period is really affecting the Caribbean people. And another challenge is impact on men. You find that some men from Caribbean countries and Jamaica country, they were they left business, they left a good paying job, they left a leadership role back then in their country, and they came to Canada. They hoped to improve their lives while in Canada. But you find these people are given a low paying job, and they are being overworked. They work for a long time, and this is affecting them mentally, because you find this person was a leader, he was a career person, he had a big business, and he left all of it hopingly that he will come and find well paying job that will help him sustain his life standard, or sustain his family back in their countries. But you find these people are the ones who are being paid lower, and they are ones who are being offered these survival jobs, and this drains them emotionally and psychologically. But these people can't come out and speak. They can't come out and express how they feel, because they know that people will judge them, the world will judge them, because they are men. They need to find ways to survive, and this is really affecting them mentally. That's why they are saying that Canada is not a country for mental health, because people are being stressed, people are being treated badly, people are not being valued as the way they should be valued. So guys, I want to know your thought on this. Kindly put it down in comment section. And do you think that life abroad is truly better, or do you think so many people are suffering silently and pretending that all is well? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video for more discussion. And see you on my next one. Love.